I'm Sarah Fergani with your KENS 5 News Now. New guidance from the Texas Attorney General on school safety. Ken Paxton released a list to educate parents on new state laws that require school districts to follow specific security protocols. Paxton's advisory has information on how parents can hold their kids' schools accountable. After the Robb Elementary School shooting, a number of Texas laws were put in place that includes requiring an armed security officer on every public campus to arming employees who take a Marshall program. Also, every school district has to have an emergency response plan. Parents who believe their districts are not following these new laws can file a complaint with the Texas Education Agency, or TEA. If you'd like to read more about the Attorney General's advisory, go to KENS5.com. Meanwhile, the Attorney General is also going after 4 Texas venues over gun laws. The lawsuit claims the venues did not allow off-duty officers to bring their firearms into the venues on multiple occasions. The lawsuit is accusing the State Fair of Texas as one of those 4 places. Paxton says it violates a 2017 law that allows officers to carry weapons into public venues, whether or not they're on duty. Police are now examining the site of a San Antonio house fire that killed 4 people, including children, saying it is now a homicide investigation. That huge fire burned down the home on Wrangler Run on the far southeast side on Friday. Teachers and friends gathered at the house where a makeshift memorial continues to grow, and friends and neighbors told us that a family of 4 lived there. An East Central ISD educator said her former student was 19 years old and studying to become a police officer.
Went on our competitions out of town. We got close, we bonded. But her fellow, students that would practice with her every week, they miss her very much. And she was just a great person to everybody.
The medical examiner and police have not yet confirmed the victims' identities, and no word on any suspects, only that it's a homicide investigation. Friends told us that a woman who lived at that house with her 2 kids was a wonderful mom and wife, and the youngest child is reportedly a 13-year-old boy. A San Antonio firefighter is recovering now after he was hurt fighting the fire on the city's west side. Monday around noon, residents reported hearing explosions coming from a building off West Commerce. That building houses residential units and a business. Fire officials say the sounds were propane and welding tanks that exploded during the fire. Somehow, the firefighter was injured, but officials did say that person will be okay. After spikes in suicides with inactive and retired San Antonio police officers, SAPD has created a new unit. It is a wellness unit made up of 7 officers. Part of their job is to reach out to officers involved in traumatic incidents like violent crimes and officer-involved shootings. The sergeant in charge of that unit is Tina Barron. She believes it's already saving lives.
It's hard sometimes to say that you want to have a conversation, but our goal is to really normalize the ability to sit down and say, that was a rough day.
From February of 2021 to October 2022, 6 active SAPD officers and 2 retired officers died by suicide. And prior to 2021, the last time an officer took their own life was back in 2016. The push to ban TikTok in the U.S. continues to move forward. Only now there is some bipartisan concern with how this movement is headed. Lawmakers in the House are gearing up for a floor vote this week that could prohibit TikTok in the U.S. And if the bill passes, TikTok will have about 5 months to break away from ByteDance, its Chinese-linked parent company. Senators from both parties, though, say they'd like some changes to the legislation.
Sure that this is the answer, but if the House passes a bill, look forward to joining that debate and discussion.
Well, I still have concerns about naming a specific company in legislation, but it feels like this House bill has momentum.
TikTok has called this House bill an attack on users' free speech rights. President Biden told reporters he will sign it if it passes. Starting this fall, students applying to the University of Texas at Austin will need to include their standardized testing scores. The university had removed the test scores as a requirement for admissions in the spring of 2020 because of limited testing options during the pandemic. But now the renewed requirement will be enforced for students applying for the fall 2025 semester. And big changes at Airbnb, the company announcing a ban on all indoor security cameras. This impacts rental properties around the world. Hosts will now have until the end of April to get rid of any indoor cameras. Outdoor security cameras are still permitted as long as guests know about them before they book. Right now, today's forecast with Ryan Choptaw.
Hey, it's looking good. High temperatures near 78. Some areas south of San Antonio at lower 80s with a blend of sunshine and clouds and a little breezy at times.
Thank you, Ryan. That's KENS 5 News Now. I'm Sarah Forgani.